Alright, so this is a nice counter to a deep outside heel hook. Obviously we don't want to get this deep, but sometimes we end up this deep, and if we don't start the grip fighting process, that's going to be most likely, you know, a tap, maybe it'll take a couple of pops, right? So when we get into this, when we get this deep into the foot lock, there's a couple of preventative measures we can take to start to relieve the pressure. The first one is I want to start grip fighting. Alright, when I grip fight, I'm going to take my outside hand and I'm going to underhook here. Sometimes you only get this deep, and I need to start lifting. And when I start lifting, I'm gonna start to dig a little deeper. Ultimately, I wanna get to a rear naked choke, so I'm gonna have to lift really hard to get a deep rear naked choke and reinforce the bend in her arm. So when I go here, I'm gonna lift, and I'm gonna scoop my hips in, and I ultimately wanna get my arm through here. And now, I can start to lift. You can see the shoulders come off the mat. Even if she keeps a tight grip on my foot, she can't help but lift the shoulders off the mat because the grip is so strong. Okay? From here, I'm going to take my heel, I'm going to go behind the bicep, and I'm going to drive it into the mat and start to pry opposite. So I'm going to get this push and pull motion going. That's going to lift her shoulders and stretch out her arm. So while we're here, again, she keep her grip. So she keeps the grip as best she can. I'm going to dig my heel in here, and I'm going to push down with my heel, and I'm going to pull up here. From here, I can push up. I'm going to bring my foot deeper, and I'm going to reinforce it here. So I'm hiding my foot. Okay, now the threat of the immediate foot lock is relieved, and I can start to work to counter. Okay, first things first, I want to relieve the pressure before I work the counter. Okay, so now, the same philosophy we have here behind the arm here where the outside hand's going to come under, I'm going to do the same thing on the leg. I can let go of the arm because the threat of the foot lock is here, and even if I don't start grip fighting here, it's going to be very difficult for her to dig the heel because A, my foot's in the way, and B, the foot that's in danger is deep in the hip. So from here, even if she has a tight squeeze on her legs, I'm going to just kind of bear hug it. I'm going to go 2-on-1 here, and I'm going to lift up. And as I lift up, I'm going to start to pull it to my chest, and I want to keep my right hand under as my left hand comes under the body. So just like I had the grip here, I'm going to do the same thing on the leg. So I lift up, pull it tight to my chest, I keep it glued, I punch under, and I rear naked choke. I don't want to go here, because if I go here, and when I start to initiate the counter, she can straighten out her leg, and you can see that I don't reinforce the bend very well. But if I go here, and I keep it tight, even if she wanted to straighten out her leg, it's fairly difficult. With enough effort, she'll be able to, but the initial straightening action isn't going to be, it's going to be slowed down at that moment. So when I go here, I pull it up nice and high, right? I want to pull it tight to my chest, and before I start to dig for the heel, rotate. All right, so before I start to dig for the heel, you can see the heel starting to get exposed here, and even if she keeps her feet attached, it's not a very tight lock. So before I start to let go of the leg, my top leg's gonna pass over top. I'm gonna clear the hip, and I'm gonna protect. Boom. I'm gonna reinforce the bite on her hip. Okay, from here I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna punch up, and if there's a heel in the way, I'm gonna push the foot free, dig the heel, and I can come over top for the finish. The key features here is if I cross this way, there's a low percentage chance, but a chance that she could counter leg lock me, like she could get an inside heel hook on my reach leg. So I kind of want to reinforce it, but also I want to bite my heels to my butt because it traps her hips in place. The reaction for her most likely is if I don't do a good job controlling her hips, she's going to rotate, maybe start to pry my feet apart. So I want to make sure I'm glued to the hips while I go here, and I do. So all the way through from the top, she's got a nice deep heel hook here, right? I'm seconds away from tapping, and if I don't start to grip fight and relieve the pressure, is most likely going to get finished, right? So there's a little bit of space here. Whatever I can get, I'm going to grab as much of the arm as I can, and I'm going to start to pull it up and slide my my outside hand deeper and deeper every time. So I'm going to go here, relieve the pressure. I'm going to punch through as much as I can, get my chest tight to her hip. Maybe get a gable grip first, but ultimately I'm going to go here and pull up. Okay, you notice the shoulder starts to come off the mat, which is going to create space for my foot that's being attacked to start to pummel a little bit. So I'm going to pull up. My left foot's going to bite down on the bicep. Can you rotate this? So I pull up, my heel goes into the bicep, and I push and pull. From here I bite the threatened foot deep into the pocket, and I reinforce it. Okay, so now even if I let go of the hands, it's going to be very difficult for her to snag the heel, just because it's so deep. It's such an awkward angle. It's too tight to the hip. It's the thread is immediately removed. So I go from here. I'm now going to focus on the knee, and I pry it up. I hug. I take the same hand that I dug underneath, I dig underneath here, and I punch up, and I go over here and I get choke grip, and hug it tight to my chest. Okay, I don't want to rotate too much this way because it can actually feed into her escape, so I want to just pull it straight up toward the ceiling. Before I let go of this and start digging for the heel, I'm going to pass my leg across. Sometimes the legs or the arms away, so I'm going to kick it free. I'm going to hide here and bite deep into the pocket again. The same pocket I was hiding before, I'm just hiding it on the front side. So from here I pull up. I clear any of the knots that are in the way, but I'm ultimately going to punch up here with my fist and free. Snag a nice deep heel hook here. The finishing pressure, I'm going to bite down with my heels. I'm going to come across. Technically, you can finish it here, but just for the sake of security here, I'm going to go here, pinch it nice and tight to my ribs, and I'm going to bridge into her knee.